Hi, everyone. This is Matthew J. Peters. I am the CEO of Ascend Media, and tonight we're going to be talking about crucial elements of your elite brand, how to attract the top 10% of your market through elevating your standards. Chances are, just from what I see out in the marketplace, even if you are an expert, you've been doing what you do for 5 years, 10 years plus, your marketing image is all over the place, and it's hurting your reputation. What happens is when people see your media, they see your logo and then they see your color scheme, and then you're running ads with different colors and different fonts. And then they go to your website and it's different than your social media sites. And it's really confusing. And what I found is most people out there that are not a Fortune 500 company do not have brand standards. That means when you set up your brand standards, this is our brand and this is how we are represented out in the world. So you can have your color scheme, you can have your fonts, or also called typeface, your logo or stylized text. And I'm going to go over some of the crucial elements in that tonight. I think I've got 9 of them here, but I want to go ahead and start off with this image here. So if you've been following me for a long time, at least 10, 12 years, you knew me as the iPhone video guy. I had a product called Smartphone Video Producer, and that really gave me recognition on the world stage. We had people purchasing our training from all over the world. I think it was like 46 countries. And what I found is that everybody was waiting for the next sale. Everybody was waiting for the fire sale or the special offer or what have you. And I set people up for discounts. I was attracting people who wanted discounts because of my branding. Because I was the nice guy. I would do things for free. I gave everything away, and I wasn't focusing on the big result I was helping people get. When I had this image, I made a complete shift. In my marketing, I went from the iPhone video guy to I came out with a declaration, a video saying, you know what, everyone? I'm shifting over to high-end media because that's where my heart is. That's my essence, is doing things at the highest level. That's what I love. That's where my passion is at. When I start doing things for $97, $149 or whatever, I don't have passion there. And maybe you're that way too, is you've been trying to sell or offer things at a really high level, but people aren't biting. And one of the reasons is because your brand is all over the place. When you have an established brand, something like this, people will see it and you automatically get respect. Now, I'm not saying that you need to respect me because of this image. It's just what it calls up from everything people see in the media out there. So this is like a Ralph Lauren inspired image. I really liked the brand. I really liked how they embody their message. I like the quality and what it evokes in people. And so I said, I'm going to take all that brand collateral that they have and I'm going to bring it into my brand. And so we took elements from that brand and another brand and we put them together and we made this image. So this is a photograph and this is a different background that they put me in. I had a similar background, but they cut me out and put this here. Look at the text. Look at the quality. And it also says Emmy Award winner. If you've got awards, if you have recognition that has something to do with what you do in your profession, let people know. That's a part of your brand. So I want to show you this image because this image right here got me about $100,000 in new clients a couple weeks after putting this out, because people were waiting for me to step up into my greatness. People were waiting. Why are you playing small? They're wondering why I was still doing this little stuff here and there. And I stepped in fully into this. The first thing I would recommend you do is a logo. A logo is setting the tone for what your brand is all about. Now, I would not spend 20 hours on this. I would not spend $1,000 or $5,000 on a logo at this point. What you want is a symbol and some stylized text, meaning you're not just going to have regular text, but you're going to change the sizes and maybe the space in between the letters, and you're going to make it into something unique, not just type, right? So a logo symbol and stylized text. That's a really simple way to get started and start using that everywhere. Color scheme, number 2, 3 colors that will be used everywhere. And make sure you have the hex color, which is for web work, anything that's digital, and then your CMYK, which is going to be for anything print. You want to make sure that those colors you choose can be represented in both places. So the colors that were going to be used everywhere, it's really important that you start using them everywhere. And your typeface. are you going to be using specific fonts? Now, it's one thing to have fonts in your logo and things that are going to be an image, and it's another thing to have fonts that are going to be using like in your website and in text that is actually text you can highlight on a website per se. So the reason why I say this is because there's a lot of fonts that are beautiful, but they are not something that a web browser is going to be able to interpret. So it'll just put something else in its place, or it's going to cause issues. So I like on the website to use something that is a Google font, because that's going to be more universal and they're free. So if you're going for body text, I'd highly recommend using something that's a Google font. And then your headline, this is something that's going to be, I like something a little bit bold. It really depends on what your style is, but this is going to be different than your body text, so your typefaces. Now, this all comes together in something called a brand standard guide. If you don't have one, you really need one. And the reason why this is your brand standard guide is normally going to be a PDF, and you're going to have your brand elements and how you're going to use them. That means your logo, your colors, your typefaces, and you want to make sure you have, if there's anything custom there, that you have those attachments or links so people can get those typefaces if they're going to be running your ads for you, if they're going to be doing graphic design for you, all those things. You want anybody who works with you is going to be doing anything visual to be able to grab your brand standards, and they understand how they are to be used and how they not to be used. So for instance, you have your logo. If you have a 3-color logo or 2-color logo, you need to have a white version and a charcoal or black version. So you can have a 1-color and also your multicolor. All right. So a brand standard guide is going to set the standard for everything that your company does. And your brand is only as strong as the standard you maintain. What happens is, if you don't have a brand standard, and I've seen this dozens of times, is you hire somebody to do work for you and they find a font that's kind of like your brand color or your brand font. They use colors that are kind of matching. And what happens is, the more people use things that are variations of your brand, the lower the quality of your brand goes, because you're not maintaining that high standard. So if you ever see something come back from someone running your ads and they're using colors that are kind of like yours or fonts that are kind of like yours, you got to send it back saying, hey, remember our brand standards? This is what we are using. All right. This is something that's going to be crucial for you to maintain that really elite brand. Number 5, social cover art. So your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, podcasts, everything has the same look and feel. Everything's using the same colors, the same font, the same logo. Everything is the same across the board. So it's not on Facebook, you're using something old from 3 years ago, and then on Twitter, you have something that's brand new, something from Fiverr on LinkedIn. It's a mess. You want to make sure wherever people go, they see that one brand standard everywhere. Number 6, your website. Update your website to utilize your new brand standards. That means anything that you're using out there in the world on social media, you want to make sure that your website reflects that too, your colors, your logo, everything. I highly recommend, it's not in here, but I highly recommend getting some new photos as well. Having someone who really understands portrait photography and have them take those photos. Number 7, social posts. Make sure you have a square and story templates. Templates are basically just going to have your logo and your colors on it, but then it's going to have empty space that you can stick different images in there. Making sure that you preload the font. So anybody who opens up your template in Photoshop, everything is there. The whole package with all the elements are there. So there's no trying to fix something or use something similar. All right. When you create a template, that is for whoever you send this template out to. They're able to recreate your brand standards at all times. Number 8, your @ID and your link. So your universal user ID. Now, there isn't really people talking about this, but if you see down below here, it says @VMJPeters. So it really doesn't matter which social media platform you're on, you're going to find me @VMJPeters. Really, I just have used that everywhere, and also secured vmjpeters.com. And when you're using links out, so let's say you're linking out to an article that you were in Forbes magazine, or you were on a podcast, don't send it directly to the podcast. Don't send it directly to Forbes. You go to yourwebsite.com/Forbes October, something like that. So people know that they're going through your site. You have control of that link. If the link changes later, you can go back in and you can change that. And number 9, video templates. A lot of times people forget about this. They have their audio they have their YouTube videos that they're doing, but they're using some other forms of their colors, some other forms of their logo. Sometimes their logo squished or it's pixelated. You got to maintain the brand standards as high as possible. That's why we recommend having YouTube thumbnails already made into templates so people can start putting the text in there and changing out the image, but you have your brand standard in that package. Your intro animation, so animating your logo, putting a stinger, which is basically just a few seconds. You can have that right at the beginning of your video or just a few seconds into your video after you tell people what they're going to get out of that video. So that's stamping your brand on it. And then your calls to action. So I like to have an early call to action, which is like a badge that would appear off to the side here, kind of like I have this video right here, but it would just like appear. You talk about your early call to action, then it disappear, and then you go into your teaching, your training, whatever you're going to be doing in that video. And then the end call to action is going to be the full screen, and it's going to give people some options of where to go, how to follow you, etc. And then your lower thirds. The lower thirds are down at the bottom here. If I were to have like my name and my title, I'd have it down here. That's called lower thirds. Imagine having that as your color scheme of your website, of all your social media, has your fonts, your typefaces, and your logo can be in there. We can have movement in there if you choose. Those are the types of things that are really important for you to have a universal brand across everything you do. When you do that and it's a super high level, like a Ralph Lauren or a Ferrari or a Christian Dior or something like that, when you see elements out there that you really want to borrow from, in people's minds, you're borrowing all of that brand collateral too. You don't have to copy anybody, but you pull some of the things out that you really love about those brands and what they stand for. And all of a sudden, when you come out, those standards of those brands are now associated with you and what you do and your results. So when you have high ticket programs and your media, your brand is all over the place, and you say it's a $10,000 program, people are a little bit surprised. But if you have a brand like I showed you, where it's all together across the board and it emulates a Bugatti or a Ferrari or something like that, people are going to expect, well, it's at least $10,000. I know I'm going to call them and I know it's going to be at least $10,000, right? It's a given. They're not surprised. So we create your elite brand. One of the things we did is we help people in this whole package where we do all their videos and everything. But what we've done recently is we realized, you know what? Some people have a team already. They have graphic designers, they have a video editor, but they're not working with the best stuff. What we can do is we can equip you or your team to now have all of the elements, all the templates. So when you want to implement these things, you have all the power to do so. So what we do is everything I talked about, the brand guide, your colors, typefaces, logo, we work with you in making sure your brand is at that highest level, the things that you love about different brands. We bring those together and help you emulate those. Your social media and your YouTube header art. So think of all your headers for LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and then YouTube header. All of that, we take into account all the safe areas so we know that if it's going to be seen on a mobile device or on a laptop, it's going to fit and there's nothing to be cut off. That's really important because a lot of people don't even do that. But we are very conscious of all those things and how things are going to look for your brand across everything. Your post templates. So we make square templates and then we make the story type templates. So you can stick in your images or your videos in there and you can use those layers. We give you all the layers. It's yours. So we don't need to keep anything from you. Those are all yours. You're the owner of it. And then video elements, your calls to action, your lower thirds, animated intro, your thumbnail templates. So you have a complete, not only a brand package that kind of puts it together for you and say, hey, this is what it is. We actually give you all the templates too. If you choose for us to do so, we will go into your different social media accounts as a manager and we'll go in and we'll put all of that content in there for you. So all of your headers, your channel art, will do that for you. So you don't even have to do that. So we help coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs expand their reach and elevate their online and offline presence with minimal time and effort on their part. We are a done-for-you service. We understand that people at that really high level, they don't have time to, what I like to say, Mickey Mouse around with learning and editing software or doing their own graphic design. They have other things to do. And sometimes you don't have a full team of people, graphic designers and editors. You're kind of doing some more of it on your own, which is okay if you know how to streamline it and do it in a very effective way. So when you have templates that are all set up, you have all the fonts, you have all the colors already pre-selected, so you can open up something like a Canva or a Photoshop, and you can just put your new content in there and everything is to your brand standards, save it and upload it to your social media or create that video and everything is there. Literally, if you use something like Final Cut or if you use Premiere, we can create that template right there. So you have a project, you can just throw your media in there, move some things around so the timing is right, and then you can render it. We're doing as much as we possibly can to help you have that highest brand quality standards so you're attracting the top 10% in your market because they see you're taking everything seriously, you're taking everything to the next level. And when we launch you with this new look, you will be surprised how many people will reach out to you, how many people will comment on your brand, how many people will see that you're finally stepping into your greatness. Just that image that I showed you, I had 141 people reach out to me and give me a thumbs up or a heart, and then I had a ton of comments underneath there, and that really helped people see where we were going with that. And that's where more and more people started going with us for our video creation services. All right. Love to help you out. Go ahead and schedule a call with me at ascendmedia.com/call. Again, you can schedule a call with me at ascendmedia.com/call. Thanks so much for being on tonight. I look forward to talking with you next time. Bye-bye.